What's good, y'all? It's Drew here, back with another video. Today, we got someone special, someone who's been here before. Why don't you introduce yourself, bro?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Rob from Showdown here. Thank you for having me on, Drew. Let's get it.
This is not the first collab, but this is the first time we've been able to talk back and forth type thing like this, though. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm hype.
Yeah. Today we're just ranking the One Piece villains because I feel like with what's going on in Wano and I don't know how far you think. I guess we can delve into that real quick. How you liking Wano so far? Because that's the arc we're in right now.
I love Wano. I love everything about Wano. The animation looks beautiful. I listen. I'll tell everybody that the fights that I'm seeing right now in Wano, the way they are animated, the colors, the everything, it's just beautiful, man. I'm loving it.
I'll go first to start it off. So at my 5th, I got Enel. But before I give my reason, I guess just for the people in the comments and stuff, this is not based off only power. It's really a combination where it's power, plot progression, what the enemies did in the arc, everything in totality. So I got Enel at 5. As a villain, you gotta have to have your villain cap, where it's they're just very cappy, they're very arrogant. And I think Enel had that in spades. Bro, he was saying he was a god. He was literally saying I'm god. So I don't know how much more cappy you can get with that. The reason why I got Enel a little bit lower is because I think as a One Piece villain or even a villain in general, there has to be that fear factor where it's can Luffy or can the main characters beat this guy? And while Enel had that for pretty much everyone, when Luffy and Enel fought for the first time, it was Luffy hit him, it's okay, damn. And it kind of seemed like Luffy always had the upper hand. There was no time when Enel was just so much better than Luffy, whereas the other villains kind of have had that moment.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely one of the first characters we got to see, show us a little taste of what hockey would look like. On Skypeia they called it mantra, but we know it's observation hockey. So I definitely have respect for what he's brought, but I don't know if he's top 5 though, Drew. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if he's top 5. You feel me? Yeah. We have not heard or seen anything from him in so long, and if I'm talking about a top 5 villain in One Piece, I'm thinking of somebody that is always popping up in our face, always a recurring figure throughout the series, and that's why at 5 I'm going with akainu. I gotta go with him. I gotta go with the marine that took down Portgas the Ace after we fought so hard to free Portgas the Ace. This is somebody that I'm seeing talking to the Gorosei, trying to raise his voice, trying to make changes, and they're telling him to pipe down. This is somebody that is going head to head and bumping heads with Fujitora, who is actually one of my favorite admirals out right now. But he is a figure that I feel like he has to get checked. There's a reason why after he became the fleet admiral, Sengoku and Garp, everybody was like, listen, I don't even want to be around the Marines right now. I'm not really rocking with the way it's moving. I don't like the things that are going on. The warlords get disbanded. You have people chasing down Mihawk. You're sending people after Mihawk? Yeah. Akainu, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? So he's just going after everybody. All the people that we love, we rock with. He's terrible. So he definitely is in my top 5 for sure.
I do kind of feel wild for not having him on the list now, but so I guess my reason for not having Akainu there is kind of as a villain, he did have the reason for us to hate him with the Ace thing, but I feel we haven't really gotten that arc or that moment with him. I guess excluding Marineford. But I mean, yeah, that's a heavy hitter. I can't complain. Ace is my favorite character, so if you talk about a character I hated for a minute, Akinu's that guy, so I can't even see on that.
Absolutely.
For my number 4, I got kind of with the world's strongest creature, so I'm gonna go with Kaido. So Kaido, I think he's risen up the ranks honestly as a top 5 villain. Before Wano, I wouldn't say it, but Kaido, one, I feel we've gotten to see his personality a lot, and Kaido's actually really, really funny. Funny moment I remember is after Kaido beat Luffy, when Luffy used Advanced Conquerors, Kaido was like, bro, man, I went too hard on you, bro. What was that attack called? Gum Gum what? That's what was hilarious. Kaido is really, really cappy. You have the scene where it's Luffy, Kid, and Law, and they're in their monster transformations about to hit him, and Kaido's just so happy. He's like, bro, these guys are little monsters. Kaido's having fun. I really can't complain with him. He's in his bag, and I have to respect that.
Absolutely.
And we haven't even gotten a whole backstory with him. I think a Kaido backstory will go crazy. We know that it could involve Joy Boy. It seemed like it could involve rocks. We're looking for more rocks information. I mean, to this point, still, no one has really overwhelmed him yet. He fought the Scabbards and the Supernova. Now he's fighting Yamoto, and he's still overwhelming every single one of them.
And just to piggyback off your last point, sorry to cut you off here, but you just said he was going after the Supernova, and not only do I agree with that, but I want to double down that he is the supernova's worst nightmare. I mean, you're talking about somebody that fell out of the sky, landed on the kid pirates, and we don't even know where the rest of the people are. We just got Killer back. Killer is nonstop laughing because of these smile fruits and things like that. I mean, Kaido just does not have any care for human life. He has no regard. He just wants to make the biggest, strongest, most powerful army he can. If he has to team up with Big Mom, he'll get the job done. All of these things that we're seeing from Kaido, they're master moves. I mean, he's obviously a leader in the underground world that we've been seeing throughout One Piece, but he is definitely a top 5 villain. I have to agree with you. I had him at 4 as well. So, I agree with you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you gave your whole spiel with the Kaido thing, but I mean, we both have it at 4. I think, like you said, like Kaido's, he has everything like except for the backstory and character. Like once we get a Kaido backstory, I think he could get as high as. I mean, let's be honest, bro. Like we know where our number 1 spot is. It's the same. We don't have to spoil it, even though everyone knows who it is. Like if Kaido has a good backstory and they do it well, he can hit the number 1 spot. Like that's the kind of potential that Kaido has as a villain. But right now we got him at 4. You already told me a character that you're missing on your list, but I'm gonna go to number 3. And number 3, I got Blackbeard.
We got the same number 3 actually, which is interesting.
All right, so yeah,
which is interesting.
So I've seen people have Blackbeard as high as 1, and don't get me wrong, Blackbeard's the GOAT. Like I don't even really rep Blackbeard like that, but you can't really hate on like Blackbeard does what he does, right? But so I mean, let me hype him up real quick. So the moment we got like Blackbeard's one of the characters that I think if you look at the entire list, Blackbeard's introduction is probably the most like meticulous from Oda's like doing. Down from like them both liking this, I think it was a cherry pie, and it was like cherry soda or something like that. Luffy liked the pie, and then Blackbeard hated the pie, and then Luffy hated the soda, and Blackbeard loved the soda. Like that whole little parallel thing, they've been doing that this whole time. And then you look at like it almost seemed like for a while Luffy was doing things and Blackbeard was chasing him, and like vice versa, and we see them both grow at the same rate. Like Blackbeard is a very, very intricate character. The reason why I kind of have him a little bit lower than like obviously top 1 is that we haven't had like that real moment with him yet. Like it's always seemed like he's kind of hiding in the shadows a little bit. Like he pulled up in Marineford, but he said himself, he was like, bro, this is not like I'm not ready to turn up yet. You know what I'm saying? We haven't had his backstory yet. Like there's just a couple things for me where it's like, Blackbeard, you almost there, but you just missing a couple things. Obviously, I think by the time the show's over, One Piece is over, Blackbeard will probably easily be the number 1 guy. Like I think Oda's probably gonna take the most care of Blackbeard's character.
Well, my thing is, in regards to Blackbeard, is he was one of those first characters that threw a wrench in everybody's theories about the Will of D, right? Because right. Everybody was thinking the Will of D, these are the good clan, this is the good people. If you have that D name, you're trying to do this and trying to do that. And then you see Marshall D. Teach, who literally causes Ace's death. He caused that entire Marineford war so he could steal Whitebeard's fruit and gain more power. And throughout that, I mean, again, he's somebody like Kaido who has no regard for human life. I mean, he found out that Absalom had the clear fruit and said, listen, I need Shiryu to get that fruit, so I'm going to do what I have to do. If Gecko Moria pulls up, I'm going to body him.
Now, at 2, I know you disagree with me, but we gonna have to hear your reason for this afterwards. But at 2, I got Crocodile.
No way. Ain't no way.
We gonna get to it. We gonna get to it.
Go ahead.
But 2, I got Crocodile. If you want to talk about like a villain that it just seemed impossible for Luffy to catch up to, like Crocodile's that guy. Like you look at the first fight, Luffy, he couldn't even hit, bro. And then he found a weakness to Crocodile. And Crocodile still was above him. You have all that stuff. When you look at the East Blue, Luffy kind of like breezed through that. It was kind of like easy money for him. But Crocodile was probably the first villain where it was like, this is the big dog. This is the kind of place. This is where real pirates be at. And obviously Crocodile's like, bro, you're not ready yet. Obviously Crocodile's fruit's insane. People say he's awakened. He could be. But I feel like Crocodile kind of deserves this top spot over people like Kaido and over Enel, given how much like characterization he's had and stuff like that. So that's my number 2 spot. But we want to hear yours.
Yeah, ain't no way that's happening. Listen, let me tell you something. Crocodile, if you want to say back during Alabasta arc, you're right. You know, I'll give that to you, Drew, every single day of the week. But when we're talking about Crocodile right now, especially after we just saw what happened in Marineford, he now is moving towards the smoker bracket for me. And listen, and I know it sounds crazy, but the reason why is that not only did he help Luffy during the Marineford War, but now that we know that Ivankov has something that he can hang over Crocodile's head, we don't know what it is yet, but just that fact that Crocodile has some secret that Ivankov has over him, that can keep him in check, because we know that Ivankov and Luffy are boys. They are friends. They are everything. So that alone, I feel like, just stunts Crocodile's growth as a villain. He can be an antagonist, but him being a villain now is stripped. From now on, like, Luffy can be like, hey, listen, Ivankov, keep him in check. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And he had a chance. You know, he had a chance, because at the Marineford War, Doflamingo said, hey, Crocodile, let's team up and work together. Crocodile said, no, I don't move with you. I move on my own accord. That's another thing where it's like, Crocodile now, he's not really like as evil as he once was. He's starting to switch up a little bit. He obviously we know he's in the New World. We have no idea what he is doing, but he's been laying low for a while. So I can't really see him as like a villain as I once did before the time skip. And that is why I'm going with Doflamingo at number 2.
What?
I'm going with Doflamingo at number 2 for me. He is an exceptional villain. Obviously, it makes it even better that he is from the Holy Land. You know, that the fact that he has, you know, that royal blood coursing through his veins, that gives me something that I really have to lock in, and I have to say, you know what? Hey, Doflamingo got it. We see the way he set up Dressrosa. It was much better than what Crocodile was doing, you know, with Baroque works and things like that. Dressrosa was literally a perfect system. And he even said, look, listen, if you guys take me down, you're gonna have to answer the Kaido. they didn't care at the time, but now we see that, dang, you know, they have to care. But
yeah, this guy's, you know, nice. Yeah.
right. But Doflamingo was just a perfect. I mean, he had the swagger, he had the money, he had everything about him. When we first saw him, you know, talking with Baby Five and things like that. I mean, the first entrances to the Dressrosa arc, it was just like he had something about him that not many villains had. You know, maybe outside of Crocodile, nobody else had that type of swag. You know, that type of backstory as well. Taking out Corazon, his literal brother. I mean, these are things that, like, you can't do stuff like that unless you're just pure evil. You feel me? You got to be pure evil to do things like that, to kill your own brother and stuff like that. So Doflamingo is definitely number 2 for me.
Yeah, you gave all the reasons that he should be number 1. That's definitely my number 1. I can't. Doflamingo is so swaggy that this guy, he got, everyone knows he has slaves, and people are still repping Doflamingo. That's a crazy thing. Like, I mean, like,
they're different.
Dofi's the king of speeches. Like, if you look at his Marineford speech, that was crazy. That was goated. Then he had his speech after he was defeated, when he talked about like who would have the throne next. Then we see Imu. Dofi's backstory is amazing. Like, a problem that mangakas and stuff have is where they have a villain and they give them this sympathetic backstory and it makes us feel bad for them. Dofi had a sad backstory. We know he had a rough, but no one's like, man, Dofi was justified in what he did. Everyone's like, bro, you killed your father and your brother with a gun. Like, that's still wild. Like, no one ever says, you know, Dofi, he was in the right. To obviously use Corazon to show us, like, you can have a bad backstory and not, you know, kill thousands and millions of people. Dofi's built, like, he's just tough. Like, down to his fruit, the whole parallel of his fruit is like strings, and he like pulls the strings in all the situations he's in, whether you're talking about the thing with Law, whether you're talking about the whole Dressrosa system. We find out, I mean, he had it locked down, bro. Like, he has the swag, he's a smart villain. Like, everything Dofi did was super meticulous. Like, even when you look at how he conquered Dressrosa again, when he pulled up to the king and he was like, alright, bro, you have this amount of time to get enough money to show me you're worth being a king, but you can't tell your subjects anything. So that so that the king would have to go wild and be very kind of almost tyrant-like to get the money. And then he still attacked them anyway, and he used the king and his men to fight. So now he could just pull up and pretend to be the hero. Like, Dofi's that guy. So like, I thought this was unanimous, but it's not unanimous. So you gotta, Rob, you gotta tell us your number 1, bro. Now you got to. So.
All right. Okay. I'll tell you my number 1, and that was an excellent breakdown on Doflamingo. He's a great villain, but at number 1, I have Kanjuro because let me chill.
Also, bro.
Let me chill. In all seriousness, I have Eve. It more so, it ties into my theories about how I believe that, you know, Dragon's one of the strongest characters in One Piece, and I believe that that's somebody that he's going to have to see towards the end of One Piece. You know, a Dragon versus Eam, or at least the Gorosei. There's gonna be something that I believe that will happen, and anybody that is slashing pictures of, you know, Shirahoshi, slashing pictures of Blackbeard and Luffy, I know that has to tie in with the ancient weapon somehow, that has to tie in with the Will of D somehow, that has to tie in with a lot of things that we don't even understand. he is or she is that person. Anybody that sits on the empty throne over the entire world is just something that is like you can't get around it. And listen, the reason why Im is a perfect villain is that nobody even really knows that Im exists. It's outside of the Gorosei, nobody knows, you know.
Exactly.
And that's something that's very, very interesting, because we don't even know what the Gorosei's true motives are. We know that they're, you know, they're the corrupt leaders of the world government, but now we just found out that they're just figureheads. Im is the one that's running the show. And you're seeing pirates like Shanks go into meetings with the Gorosei talking about what we have no idea. But now that we know that the Gorosei are just puppets for Im could be trying to direct something through Shanks, and Shanks may not even know, because Shanks may think that he's talking to the highest, you know, force in the world, and it's actually Im, and they're relaying information. It's a crazy thing that Oda introduced Im into the series, because Im is like it just throws a wrench in the plans, you know. So that's why I got Im at number 1.
I guess what you were kind of saying is that you were talking about what he can be. Like, Blackbeard and Luffy are both threats to him, so that's like, okay, whatever this guy is, he has like probably the 2 biggest upstarts in the world as like threats. Obviously, we know he has the what's called the admirals under his control. I can see him being number 1. I just pulled back from giving Imu that spot because I feel like we just don't know. We don't even know like Imu's race, or not even race, his gender, or Imu's race. We just don't know. We're just missing so much.
We don't know anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that's just ties in, and it's just a personal pick for me, because I believe that Monkey D. Dragon, he listen, we've been watching One Piece for years.
Yeah.
And Dragon has barely made any moves. And me knowing Oda, just through watching One Piece, watching, you know, his most loved work, I feel like Dragon, once he makes a move, we're gonna see more of Im. And Im being at the empty throne, Im running the Gorosei, literally, the Gorosei, they bowed down before Im. So it wasn't even like, all right, Im's my boss. It was like,
it was like Im, Lord, yeah.
Yeah, Im's my lord, you know what I'm saying? So that just changed the whole scope of what I believe. So I believe that, you know, Dragon may know something, you know, and I believe that Dragon is one of the strongest in the One Piece world right now. So that's why I just believe, just because of power and influence, that Im should have a number 1 spot.
Honestly, I mean, that's our top 5 One Piece villains. It's a little bit of we had some similar spots, but like I think Kaido was on both lists, Blackbeard, Dofi.
I almost swapped akainu for Kanjuro though. I really
nah, bro, stop.
Kanjuro was shot, man. After I saw what he was doing in Wano, I said, look, I mean, we were rocking with Kanjuro since back during Punk Hazard. If you really think about it, you know, and he fooled everybody. So it's like, you know, once they said there was a spy among the, you know, the scabbers, it was just like, all right, here we go. Somebody's been, but Kanjuro though, not even one of the new guys.
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
homie.
Wow.
Yeah, like shout out Kanjuro for that. That was a definitely a wild moment. Like he was like, bro, it was. And then even when he was like, I guess we're giving Kanjuro respect. He's not even on any of the lists, but it is what it is. Like even when he was like, we found out he's writing with the wrong hand. That's why his art is so ugly. It's like, bro, you could probably go back and look at him using his left hand, which is not his dominant hand. That's just stuff you don't peep. But yeah.
Right, exactly. Insane.
And Kanjuro just can't seem to die. I think he might still be alive. Like he just can't. That's our top 5 One Piece villains. Rob, is there anything you want to plug? Any video you got upcoming or anything?
Yeah, I want to plug CA Analysis. Make sure you subscribe. Show Drew some love. Thank you so much for having me on. You can't go wrong talking about One Piece.
Yeah,
it's amazing. So this is actually, you know, fun to do for sure. And yeah.
All right, bro. I mean, yeah, I don't got anything else to say. Thank y'all all for coming through, obviously. So shout out Showdown for coming through. This is one of my favorite collabs so far. So yeah, that's all we got to say though. But we're out. So peace.
Peace.